Hello everyone and welcome back to another deck idea from Double Sleeved. Today we're going to be covering the Metacooler deck coming out in Ultimate Squad. As always, if you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, but let's jump into it. Starting off with the leader, we have Metacooler. Auto, when this card is placed in your leader area, activate up to one big Getty Star Nightmarish regeneration from your deck. Then we've got an auto burst 2, add one card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, play up to one infinite multiplication Metacooler from your deck and then shuffle the deck. We're going to be running a lot of those, as you can see in front of you. And then we've got Awaken. When your life is at 4 or less, you may draw one card, play up to one infinite multiplication Metacooler from your drop area, and then flip this card over. On our Awaken side, we've got the permanent. While there are 20 or more infinite multiplication Metacooler in your energy area, battle area, and or drop area, this card gets plus 5,000 power. And then auto, when this card attacks, draw one card, play up to one infinite multiplication Metacooler from your deck, and then shuffle. It's not difficult to get 20 of these Metacoolers into any of these areas, and there's so many of these areas as well, but the payoff for it is quite lackluster, only getting the 5k. It is a permanent, so it is live on your turn and your opponent's turn, making this 20k, but it would be so late at that point that it may not be that useful. But being able to draw one and then play the cooler is really good as well. When we play our leader, we get to play the field card immediately, which is good, which is the Big Getty Star. So we've got field card permanent. This card is also treated as Big Getty Star in all areas, so some call back to a few older cards. Activate main, burst one yellow generic energy. We switch this card to rest mode, look at up to 3 cards from the top of the deck and play up to one multiplication Metacooler among them, and then place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck. So being able to pay 1 energy, play a 15k is really good. Activate main for 1 green, 1 yellow and 2 generic energy. Place 1 Metacooler core card from your hand under this card, and then play up to 1 Metacooler card from your deck or drop area on top of this card, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. We've got a couple of cards that work with this, but being able to pay 1, switch the card to rest mode, and then play a 15k is really good. We are running 20 of the infinite multiplication Metacooler. This card includes the permanent of you can include as many copies of this card in your deck as you like. So we're not limited to just running 4. We can run a ridiculous amount, which is what we want to be doing. This is a green-yellow build utilizing Successor, which can be quite useful since we're playing a lot of these cards quite easily, and there are 2 costs, so it adds up quite quickly. Moving into the Metacooler Enhanced Menace, this is an SR coming out. It is also a 2 cost, but it's a 5k energy exhaust blocker with a permanent. If you have a Metacooler card in play, negate this card's energy exhaust skill in all areas, so giving us access to both green and yellow energy, which will come in handy for our Successor cards. But also, if we want to play this card after we've charged that yellow energy, when we play it, we get to look at the top 7 cards from the top of the deck and play up to 3 infinite multiplication Metacooler among them in rest mode, and then shuffle the deck. So a really good way to spam the board if we're able to get this card out, and then we've got the blocker available as well. But just being able to negate the energy exhaust and have access to that yellow and green energy is why we want this card. Metacooler Newfound Foe. It's a 15k 4 cost, 1 green, 1 yellow, energy exhaust, Successor for 1 green. So really easy to get this card out. All we need is 2 infinite multiplication cooler. We can pay a green energy, send those cards to the drop area, and then play this. Activate main, limit 1. If your leader card is a Metacooler card and you discard this card and 1 Metacooler card from your hand, look at up to 7 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 2 Metacooler and or Metacooler core cards among them, and then shuffle your deck. So giving us a bit of access to search out the deck if we're looking for those core cards, or if we just want to cycle through our deck and thin it out a little more and get some Metacoolers into the drop area. Activate main, limit 1. Choose up to 2 Metacooler cards in your battle area and they get plus 5,000 power for the turn. So we're able to Successor this card out, do the activate main, and then make 2 of our other Metacooler cards or itself 20k for the turn. Metacooler Core, the Collective, so we're only running a couple of copies of this card. This is a card that works well with the field. We've got Energy Exhaust, Successor, 1 green, 1 yellow, and 1 generic. Permanent Metacooler cards in your battle area gain blocker, so a lot of the 15Ks that we're playing out, rather than just spamming a lot of 15K attackers, we can have a quite defensive deck as well, utilizing these 15K blockers too. And when you use this card's Successor skill to place 4 or more battle cards in your drop area, play up to 4 infinite multiplication Metacooler from the deck and or drop area, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So really good to be able to Successor for 8 and go over 4 Metacoolers, so sending them to the drop area, and then just play out those 4 Metacoolers again immediately as long as this card hits the field. Well, when you use the card Successor skill, so even if it does get responded to, we're still going to be able to play those 4 battle cards, which is really good. And then we've got another 4 15K attackers to attack with. For Unison, we've got Mecha Freezer Back from the Abyss. This is a 3-cost 15K Unison with a permanent. When playing this card, you can pay its energy cost using the infinite multiplication Metacooler in your battle area as energy. So really good. We can kind of save our energy for other things and use the battle cards that we have on the field to bring this card out. We've got a +1 activate main, discard 1 card from your hand. Your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So 1 for 1, but if we've got cards that we want in the drop area, or if our opponent has a bit of a small hand, then we can start doing a bit of damage there. And a -7 activate main, choose up to 3 of your opponent's cards in hand and or battle cards and place them in the owner's drop area. So the Unison does only have a +1, so it's going to be difficult to get 2 7 markers just upticking 1 each turn, but being able to use the infinite Metacoolers from the battle area as energy does help to be able to play this card out for 7 and then immediately -3. It can come in handy with some of the other cards that we have in the deck. For example, Salzino, being able to play this card out, tap the Metacoolers as energy, do the -7, rip 3 cards out of their opponent's hand, and then Salzino over the cards that we tapped for the energy and rip another 3 cards if we have 5 energy. Freezer Charismatic Villain, pretty standard. Counterplay if you have the Unison with 2 or more markers, and then we get to KO a battle card 7 or less. Pretty standard in all green decks at this point. And then moving into some of the more green-yellow cards that we have, we've got Skill Steal Chilai, super combo. If your leader's green, yellow, or a heroine card, when this card is used in a combo from your hand, choose one. Choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards or Unison cards and switch to rest mode. And then if it's your turn, choose one of your opponent's skillless battle cards and KO it. We are using this for the Arrival as well as the Cell, but being able to switch leaders and Unisons to rest is really good. We're seeing a lot of big 20k double striking Unisons and things like that, and there's always leaders that have a lot of great effects when they attack, so just being able to switch them to rest mode if we need to, and then have access to the free green-yellow super combo. As well as the green-yellow super combo, we've also got Cell the Awakened, one of the new ones coming out in Ultimate Squad. So this one helps even more with Successor as well, being that if your leader is green or yellow at the end of a battle in which this card is used in a combo, play this card from your drop area. You could lean directly into that kind of Successor package and run 4 of this card, but it either or, depending on which one you want to use. I could see a deck running 4 of this and none of the Chilai, but we wanted these free green-yellow super combos for the Android 13, the Mission Begins, a card that I think has been underused in the past purely because we haven't had a great green-yellow super combo. Chilai is obviously very good, but the Giro, the original green-yellow super combo, wasn't the best in comparison to some of its other super combos that came out in set 9, but I think this is a card that does fit in quite well with the deck. It's energy exhaust unique, so we're only running a couple of copies, and it's a 20k double strike, Arrival green yellow for 1 green energy, and then we've got the auto at the start of your opponent's turn. They choose 2 of their battle cards and KO them. So we don't need to attack, we don't need to do anything, it just needs to be on the field, and as soon as we pass, our opponent chooses 2 their battle cards and KO them. This can wipe boards quite quickly if our opponent can't deal with this card. And then we've got the activate main for 1 generic energy. Send this card from your drop area to the warp. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less and KO it. So it can come in handy as well for things like Dark Power Marseillan, but any other 3 or less battle card that we just want to get rid of. If we're able to get this card into the drop area, then we can just immediately pay 1, send it to the warp, and remove that card. Another extremely good successor card that we haven't seen a whole lot of as well is Topo Mortality Surpassed. It's a 25k barrier, energy exhaust, and a successor for green and yellow energy. And it's a 6 energy cost, so 3 coolers is all we need to kind of get this card out. And we've got to auto when you play this card, or it's placed in your drop area from your battle area by a skill. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate that card's skills, and KO it. This Topo can remove pretty much everything in the game, since it ignores barrier and it negates skills before KOing. So it's extremely good that we can play this card and KO whatever we like. And also its effect goes off when it's removed by a skill, not necessarily our opponent's skill. So if we successor over the Topo, then we can trigger this effect again and KO something else if our opponent has a barrier card or something that we want to get rid of before we go into our Celzino and try and quad strike them. Then we can utilize this Topo as effect again. 2 energy for a 25k barrier is pretty good as well, but yeah, the auto on this card is what makes it extremely good. We see a lot of permanence, and this card can't be removed, and this card can't be KO'd and things like that. So having the Topo to be able to remove anything through barrier is extremely good. Hopeless Sight, it's a 1-cost counter attack, negate the attack, and then additionally you may discard 1 card from your hand. If you do, play up to 1 infinite multiplication Metacooler from your drop area. So you can quite easily pay 1, negate the attack, discard the Metacooler, and then play the Metacooler. Or if you already have 1 in the drop area, you can play that one too. But the activate main on this card is extremely good. So it's an activate main for 1 green, 1 yellow, and 2 generic energy. However, you do still need to pay the 1 to activate the extra card. So in total, it costs 5, 2 green, 1 yellow, 2 generic energy. And then if your leader card is a Metacooler core card, play up to 100 infinite multiplication Metacooler from your drop area. Not a typo, it is a 100. So a lot of good plays with this as well. If we have a large amount in the drop area, we can spam the board with up to 20 of these Metacoolers, but also being able to use the Metacoolers for successor, get them into the drop area, and then pay the 5 and bring them back out again after we've attacked with them, we've successored, we bring them out again, we've got a whole bunch of 15k attackers that we can attack with again. A really good turn 5 play. Reminds me of the Sin Shenron leader effect of being able to pay 6 and then play up to 7 Shadow Dragons, but this plays a far larger number than 7. Stand and negate homicidal clones, negate the attack, play the meta token which gains blocker for the turn, and if we have 5 or less life, we can activate the counter skill from our hand by taking a life instead of paying its energy. Super combo, Great Saiyaman, pretty standard from set 11. Bottom deck 1, draw 2 cards, and it gains 10,000 combo power for the battle. And then our secret rare, Celzino, Unspeakable Abomination. So this card does have the errata text here as well. Ultimate Deflect Energy Exhaust Successor. It's a successor for free, so it doesn't require any energy, but it is a 12 cost, so we've got to meet that successor of 12, which is only 6 Metacoolers or 2 Topos, or however we want to make this combination. We are running only even kind of number of cards except for the freezer, I believe. Everything else should be an even number that we're playing, so it is going to be quite easy to get to that 12. And if you have 5 or more energy, when you play this card, choose up to 3 cards in your opponent's hand, place them in the drop area, and then this card gains dual attack and quadruple strike for the turn. So another great turn 5 play, being able to successor attack with all of our coolers, successor into the cell, and then activate the Hopeless Sight to play the 15Ks out again. Yeah, Celzino is really good at closing out games, just being that dual attack, quad strike. Extremely efficient. Again, has some use with the topo. If our opponent has a blocker on the field, we can successor over the topo to remove it and then have this swing into our opponent's leader. But that's the deck. I hope you enjoy it. It's definitely got some interesting cards in it, some cool cards, you know, with the introduction of the Hopeless Sight and things like that, and the relevance to the movie of, you know, having the 100 meta coolers. But definitely an interesting deck. It's cool to see green yellow kind of coming back to the front of people's mind. But let me know in the comments what you think of the deck, if there's anything that you'd want to change or add, and we'll see you at the next deck idea.